In 1964, Ford built the Aurora with 10 features most people have never heard of, including one that even Stanley Kubrick called too futuristic. These are the facts that change everything you thought you knew about this car. Meet the 1964 Ford Aurora. It was a concept station wagon that looked like a living room, drove like a spaceship, and contained 10 features so far ahead of their time that even Stanley Kubrick thought it was too futuristic. Let's get into it. Number 10. The tailgate that belonged on a spacecraft. Most station wagons in 1964 had a simple fold-down tailgate. Ford looked at that idea and decided it was not nearly strange enough. The Aurora used a clamshell system. The lower section folded down while the upper section slid backward simultaneously, creating a wide-open, futuristic entrance that looked nothing like any wagon on the road. It was not a hatch. It was not a door. It was closer to the loading bay of a science fiction vehicle. Ford engineers spent months perfecting the mechanism. The result worked flawlessly, and nobody bought it because the car never went into production. Number 9. The drink cabinet on wheels. Halfway between the front and rear of the Aurora sat something no production car had ever offered before, and very few have offered since. It had a built-in table with a refrigerated cabinet underneath containing ice storage and a full beverage center. Ford was not building a car. Ford was building a rolling bar with wheels attached. The thinking was straightforward. Long-distance American family road trips were miserable. Children were bored. Adults were tired. The Aurora was designed to fix all of that by making the journey feel like a luxury hotel lounge. The drinks cabinet was just one piece of that vision. Number 8. The children got their own room. Ford did not just think about the adults. The rear compartment of the Aurora was designed as a completely separate space for children, with its own dedicated audio system and a built-in television. In 1964, having a television in your house was still considered a luxury. Ford put one in the back of a car. The rear zone was referred to internally as the romper room, a self-contained entertainment space for children that would keep them occupied across thousands of miles of American highway. The concept of a rear seat entertainment system in a family vehicle would not become a mainstream production feature for another 4 decades. The front passenger could face backwards. The Aurora's front passenger seat was not fixed facing forward like every other car ever built. It was designed to swivel on its base, allowing the occupant to rotate and face the curved middle seat behind them, essentially turning the front of the car into a conversation zone. Ford was designing the Aurora around the idea of people talking to each other rather than staring at the back of someone's head for 8 hours. The swivel seat transformed the Aurora from a transport vehicle into a social space. No production American family car offered this feature at the time. Many never have. Number 6. The ventilation system had its own dedicated section of roof. The Aurora did not simply blow air through vents like other cars. A specific section of the rear roof was engineered entirely around a flow-through ventilation system that combined forced air conditioning with constant cabin airflow. The housing for this system was a separate structural element of the roofline, not an afterthought. Ford allocated square footage of the car's body to air management the same way an architect would allocate space in a building. In 1964, most American cars considered a working heater an adequate climate system. The Aurora had a dedicated roof zone for air conditioning. 5 features down, 5 to go. The next 5 are where this car stops making sense entirely, including the one detail that made a Hollywood director, building the future, decide Ford had already beaten him there. Number 5. The roof could darken on command. The front section of the Aurora's glass roof used a power-operated polarizing panel that the driver could adjust to control how much light and heat entered the cabin. The glass did not just let light in, it managed it. On bright days, the panel could be darkened to reduce glare and heat. On overcast days, it could be opened fully. This was not tinting. This was electronically adjustable glass responding to driver input. The technology is called electrochromic glass, and it would not appear as a standard feature on production luxury vehicles until the 1990s. Ford demonstrated a working version of it on a concept car in 1964. Number 4. The lighting ran on. Every car in 1964 used incandescent bulbs, the same basic technology as a household lamp. Hot filament, hot glass, significant power draw. The Aurora used electroluminescent lighting throughout its exterior side panels and headlamp assembly. Electroluminescent light produces no heat. It glows rather than burns. Ford engineers called it cold light, and they built it into the body of the car as an integrated visual element, rather than a bolted-on lamp. The technology behind electroluminescent lighting is the same fundamental principle that would eventually produce the LED strips used on virtually every modern vehicle. Ford put a working version of it on a show car 6 decades before it became industry standard. It had 12 headlights, not 2, not 4, 12. Each one was a sealed beam unit, approximately 1 inch across, arranged in a specific array at the front of the car. But the 12 headlights were not just a styling decision. Each individual lamp could be adjusted separately in both brightness and aim, allowing the driver to configure the lighting pattern to suit different road conditions. Brighter on the shoulder, dimmer on the center line, wider spread on curves, narrower beam on straight highway. A 12-unit individually adjustable headlamp system in 1964 was so far beyond anything in production that it reads more like a description of military aviation equipment than a family station wagon. Ford built it and showed it to the public. Number 2. Ford called it a luxury lounge. Not a car, not a wagon, a lounge. Ford's own internal documentation and press materials for the Aurora described the vehicle as a rolling living room designed for long-distance luxury travel. The cabin was laid out like a family living room rather than a conventional automobile interior. Every design decision in the Aurora, the swivel seat, the drinks cabinet, the children's entertainment zone, the climate system, the adjustable glass roof, all of it was built around a single premise. The journey should feel like staying home. Ford was not making a car more comfortable. It was attempting to reclassify what a car was. That idea would not find its way into mainstream automotive thinking for another generation. Number 1. Stanley Kubrick said it was too futuristic. In the early 1960s, director Stanley Kubrick was in pre-production on the film 2001, A Space Odyssey, a movie set in the year 2001 and designed around the most credible and rigorous vision of near-future technology that cinema had ever attempted. Kubrick's research team scoured the world for vehicles, objects, and designs that could plausibly represent what everyday life might look like nearly 40 years into the future. The Ford Aurora was considered and rejected, not because it looked primitive, but because it looked too advanced. A car that Kubrick's team, building a vision of 2001, decided was too futuristic to be believable on screen, was a car that Ford had already built, already shown to the public, and already decided not to produce. The Aurora was shelved. The film came out in 1968. The car it rejected as too advanced has still not been fully replicated in production form today.